actually start this?
Are we starting? Can we start?
Okay. Excellent. Cool. Let's do it.
Okay.
Yes. Yes.
I'm sorry. Okay. So I'm finally getting to sit next to Tazito Garcia. How are you?
I'm great. How are you?
I'm doing really well, really well. Congratulations on Dead End.
Thank you. It's been a long process. Took us about a year, but it turned out really well in the end. I think everyone's going to have a good time watching it.
And you're so composed.
Yeah. I try to be.
You are amazing. So listen, I just wanted to first of all talk about the fact that you are making this film, and it's for, once again, charity, and you did it again with no budget. So please talk to me about that and tell me, how do you manage to do this yet again 3 times?
Well, when it comes to the no budget, honestly, the reason why I wanted to keep the no budget pattern going on with my films is because I wanted to show people it could be done, right? Whether they were graduates from film school or filmmaking school, you know, one thing that tends to be taught at the beginning is you need money to make a film, you need money to have equipment, you need money to bring people on board. I wanted to show people that it could be done, you know, whenever there's a will, there's a way. And I wanted to show them, you know what, starts with a vision, starts with a handful of ideas on a piece of paper, and then you can bring it to life. So, yes.
So with this particular script, it's I don't want to give it anything away, but obviously it's has to do with, you know, child abduction at an early age, and you know, being turned into assassins, right?
Yes.
So where did you come up with this idea?
The idea, I feel, has been done in many ways, but this is very unique in its own way as well, right? I feel when it comes to movie making, or, you know, being audience and you go watch a movie, there's a lot of scenes or a lot of snippets that you could see and be like, oh yeah, this reminds me of so-and-so movie or so-and-so TV show.
Yeah.
So I try and stay as original as I can,
Okay.
you know, original. But one thing that I wanted to dedicate to is those kids that could go missing, right? It's a nightmare for anybody.
Yeah.
If you have a little brother, little sister, or even if you think on, you know, parents' terms, if you were to go missing, how worried they would be.
Yeah.
And, you know, when I'm not acting, I'm teaching martial arts, I'm teaching in a school, and it's one of those things where you really, really think about it. What if this person was kidnapped? How would you feel as a teacher? How would, how harsh would it feel for these parents, you know, to wake up or find out about this news that your kid's gone missing? And what could you do to avoid it? What could you do to prevent it? What could the kids do to try and have a fighting chance back? Right? And I felt like it was great to connect it to this storyline, which in essence connected to the charity in the end, right?
Which is what we're going to talk about.
Yeah, absolutely, right? And it was really, really good in that sense, where, you know, it was all little pieces of a puzzle. And then when the project was done, we got a hold of the charity, and then everything worked out together like one big picture in the end.
Amazing, amazing. And the charity that you chose, Missing Children Society.
Yes.
Yeah, so.
They are fantastic. They come up with very unique ways of trying to narrow down the search when it comes to a kid that's been missing. Whether it's an app, because now everything's mobile.
That's true.
Whether it's online, whether it's working with the police force, you know, it's all about updates. Where was this kid last seen? What was that kid last seen wearing? And, you know, it blasts over a certain network, and then it narrows down the search, hopefully saving a lot of time, which time could be
time is of the essence, as you had mentioned earlier. Yeah, every minute counts.
Exactly,
so.
right? So I felt it was really, really good to support that foundation, because, you know, Melina, Nicoletta, in the movie, they were kidnapped when they were kids, right? And you see how they turned out.
That's right.
Right, in the movie. So almost goes hand in hand.
Cool. That's awesome. I love it. Yeah, the charity itself is definitely an eye-opener, because, you know, you're happy that stuff like this exists. I didn't even really, I wasn't even aware until I heard of this.
See, it's very scary when it comes to stuff like that, because sometimes, you know, there has to be a disaster for people to realize, uh-oh, okay, what do I do if that happened? You know, if there's a fire in my house, who do I call? What do I do? What's the first step I have to do? And that's what this charity or the foundation does. This organization, it actually tries to teach and create awareness to the parents especially, right? Hey, here's what you do to try and avoid this sort of trouble or this sort of bump or this sort of hurdle.
Yeah.
You know, that could be very harmful for your children, very harmful for yourself as well, right?
It's true, yeah.
Yeah, so.
That's true. So with this particular film, how long did it take you to shoot this?
I would say a little shy of a year.
Okay.
Not because it was, you know, it was really needed, but it's mostly because of this scheduling. It was really, really tough when it came to, you know, scheduling all the actors, and another huge factor was the weather. We get 7 months of winter, and we're supposed to film it during summertime, and it was crazy.
So some of the challenges were definitely just weather.
Weather and scheduling. That's usually what it comes down to.
And what about actually showing and teaching and instructing some of these new actors to do some of these choreographed stunt moves? That's got to have been a big challenge, especially Melina.
Yes, yes. With Melina, she's done a great job. Honestly, I was very, very proud of her. And you know what? If we had a little bit more time, she would have been even more impressive when people see her on the big screen. We had about 6 choreography dates that we got together. We trained maybe 4 complete days, full days.
Wow.
And that was my fight scene with her.
That's it?
And yeah, and that was it. And you know, she was really worried about remembering this choreography and, you know, matching up to my speed, matching out, you know, to the strength. And every time she'll punch, ow, it's like you're made of iron. Ah, man of steel, ah, it hurts, right? How am I going to do this the day off? And I was like, trust me, you're going to be okay. The adrenaline's going to be there.
Yeah.
Most important thing is just follow your pattern, follow your steps, and don't freak out, right? And she did great for a first timer. She was very impressive. And she had another scene that I was even more impressed with, where she had to do a front handspring in high heels.
Wow.
And she did a fantastic job. And funny enough, she almost hurt herself wearing runners during rehearsal.
Are you kidding?
But when she did it in heels,
heels,
she was
no big
perfectly
deal.
fine. No,
that's so funny.
Yeah, she was perfect. Nothing to worry about. But she had runners on. Her shoelaces were not tied, and she almost broke her ankle. It was crazy. We had to freeze it, wrap it up. Okay, put your heels on. Now let's film it, right? And yeah, but it was great. For the guys, it was really interesting for some of them, because some of them come from a real martial arts background. So they're showing up there. They're like, yeah, I know how to punch. Bow! Oh, that really hurt. That really hurt. Yes, it's not the fact that you can't take the punch for real or you can't punch for real, but even for continuity's sake, right? If you punch someone and, you know, the first take, they're perfectly fine. Second take, all of a sudden there's a big gash on their forehead. What are we going to do?
Yeah,
right? So even for continuity's sake, they had to be trained. They had to learn that it was more of a dance. Both of you had to work within a certain, you know, picture frame, within a certain distance from each other to make it look real and not cheesy, and also to make it safe, right? So, yeah.
And the thing is, like, now you have 2 things to focus on, not just your lines, but and acting the lines, but like action, like the action, the choreographed actions that you've learned. Yeah. You were taught.
Yeah, the action is really, really tough. When it comes to the action, I feel like it's a lot harder than the lines. Once you get in character, you're perfectly fine with the lines, right? Whether you're scared, you're happy, you're a little nervous, that's fine. But especially when it's a long fight scene, one little screw up, you got to go all the way back and film it all over from the top. Yeah, so, especially if it involves some kind of flip and falling on your back. It's like, oh, we didn't get it. Sorry, camera was too high. Okay.
Were there a lot of, was there a lot of complaints on people's parts by, you know, like the injuries, and at the end of the day?
Surprisingly, there was no injuries. No. Well, not surprisingly, but honestly, no.
Oh, that's awesome.
No actors were harmed in this production. Yes. Honestly, it was very straightforward. There was no injuries. The max amount of padding, the max amount of support and protection was provided to the actors to minimize, mishaps. But mishaps happen to the best of the actors out there, the best of the stunt people out there. So really, we tried the best we could, and it turned out really good. It turned out really well.
I wanted to say something too, because I remember you telling me before that it's not like you even really got into martial arts and all this through family or anything. You just kind of on your own, were really excited and interested on your own, weren't you?
Yes.
Like just self-inspired by action movies and learning martial arts.
Well, two things would kick in when it came to martial arts. One, there's a little bit of bullying when I was younger.
Okay.
And 2 was the fact that you know, a lot of the cartoons I even watched, whether it was Ninja Turtles or Power Rangers, you know, I love these guys.
Yeah.
And they were all flipping, kicking, punching, and it was great. And my parents didn't want me to do it because they thought, you know, I'd get really aggressive and go punch people on the street or in my school.
Makes sense.
But little did they know that, you know, it would be a very essential piece of, you know, the puzzle to my acting career down the line. Yeah.
Yeah.